Here we go. Part 4, we're going to make a basic wandering AI. Now, the main thing to remember is we're just doing a very simple AI, artificial intelligence. When it comes to like the real deal of artificial intelligence, that's a whole other school of thought, which, by the way, if you've ever watched any movie on creating artificial intelligence, it always ends poorly. But that's not what we're going to do. Let's take a look here. We need a smarter enemy. We need bad guys to wander around. Let's plan out our steps. So we need step 1, our character is going to move forward a little bit. Step 2, he's going to shoot a laser beam out and find out if there's anything in front of him at a particular distance. If there is something, if the ray hits an object and it's close enough, he's going to turn a random amount. And then we're going to go right back to step 1. Okay, so that's the basic process, very simple. All right, so we know that ray casting is good for shooting projectiles, as we've seen, but it's also good for looking around, as we just said. So we can use ray casting as part of our artificial intelligence. This time the ray is going to come from the enemy instead of the camera. If there's an obstacle in front of the enemy, we need to figure out the distance, because if it's close enough, then he's going to turn. One difference is that the ray cast for the bullet was tiny, whereas the ray for looking around is larger. So, for example, if you were to look around a room to find out if you're going to bump into something, you wouldn't want to look through a pinhole. You'd want to look through something a little bit bigger, so that you wouldn't miss things, right? So we're going to go. Okay, so every time the character projects a ray in front of it, by the way, again, it's going to be thicker than this little line. Here the character is facing a wall, so the ray cast will detect a close object. Okay, so if it's close enough and he hits the object, he's going to turn. All right, let's do the code. Create a new C# script named Wandering AI. You're going to attach it right to your enemy, and then you're going to write the following code. By the way, I always have to give mine odd names because of making changes throughout, so don't call it AI 332, just call it Wandering AI. Okay, but here's the code. Give that a shot and see what happens. Add in that code and see what happens. Test it out, and then take a look here. So look, public float obstacle range. So anything within 5 places, is what we're looking for. If it's farther than 5, then we're not going to worry about it. So this is how far away to react to an obstacle. Transform.translate, you should know what this is doing by now. You're moving in the X, Y, or Z. In this case, it's the Z, and we're moving speed, right? So that's how fast our guy is moving. And we're doing time.delta time because it's going to move the same amount regardless of the speed of your computer. All right, now look, we're making a ray. Ray equals new ray, transform.position.transform.forward. So this is a ray at the same position and pointing in the same direction as our character. So this time we're not using the camera, but we're using the camera. All right, so now take a look. So we have our hit. We have our variable called hit. That's our ray cast hit. And now here, check this out. If physics dot, now look what we're doing this time. It's not a ray cast, but a sphere cast, because instead of doing like a laser beam that is super tiny, this time it has a thickness of 0.75, so that we're not just, so we don't miss stuff. So if we're right at the edge of a wall, right, his left eye or right eye doesn't bump into it, right? Okay, so it's a sphere cast instead of a ray cast this time. Okay, so this is asking the question: is the distance less than the obstacle range? So is it? If it's less than this, then we're going to turn. If it's greater than this, we're going to keep stepping forward. And then look, I don't know if we've done random number generation before, but here we go. Here's how you generate random numbers. So you're saying, hey, I want a box called angle. The only thing that can go into it is a float decimal. And what are we going to stick in there? Random.range. So it's going to be between -99 to +99. So we're going to turn a random angle. And then transform.rotate that angle, so we're gonna rotate him our random amount. Okay, so let's see what it does. Let's go ahead and bring this thing up and see what it does. So if we hit run, let's see what happens. Hopefully it works. And there our guy goes. If we watch him, as soon as he gets close to, yeah, he got close enough to a wall. Let's follow him around and let's follow him around and see what he does. So eventually he's going to get too close to that wall. There you go, and turn a random angle. All right, there you go. Good. That's it.